Happy New Year, episode 35 of the Nerd Turd Podcast. Coming at you live from the New Turd Studio.
New Turd.
In
New Year, New Turd, you know?
I hope everyone had a happy holidays. We missed you guys while we were gone. I did not miss Gene, though.
Yeah, Gene's not missed. He's kind of always in the back of my mind.
Sorry about it.
It's because I felt your presence with me constantly.
You're always in my heart.
I was telling somebody, maybe I tweeted this out as a joke at one point in my life, but I was legitimately having this conversation with someone recently that if you weren't my friend throughout college and my early years after college, I would probably be in prison at this point in my life.
I mean,
because you were the one stable foundation in my life where all my friends were telling me to giving me just super bad ideas all the time.
Dude,
Yes,
that touches my heart, Kev.
what bad ideas did I give you?
Thank you.
You really want to go into it?
Yeah.
No.
I didn't give you any
Chris
bad
also
ideas.
gave us good ideas because we would not have ended up at Harry Potter World in Orlando if it weren't for Chris in that quaffle in his
I feel
basement at his parents'
it
house.
was me.
it wasn't me, but it was definitely us.
Yeah, me and Kevin were cuddling on the bed together.
It definitely wasn't me. I will never take
It was
credit for
my
that.
DVD that had the special
It was
features.
definitely your DVD.
in my room in my bed.
Because
Actually,
back
it was my brother's bed. It was in Zach's bed.
Was it your brother?
Yeah, we were in my brother's room for some reason.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
Dude,
I just remember vividly that it was around that poker table or whatever it was in your basement, or that weird table in your
yeah.
basement.
We had that
and
business meeting.
and we were passing around that quaffle around the table as we were sitting around it talking about it, and that's when we decided to make it happen.
Do you remember when
So
I
remember.
tried to make butterbeer by melting a whole bag of Werther's butterscotch?
Yes,
and pouring
I
milk?
do.
Guys,
and
this
it
is a
was
real question.
Super
Was that
not
trip in
awesome.
that was in this decade, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
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 It was in this decade.
That was at the beginning of the decade.
Just barely. Yeah,
Wow. And look, now we're doing a nerd podcast at the end of the decade.
just barely.
Well,
How
at the
things don't
beginning of it.
change. What's
Yeah,
the
dude, it's a
beginning
new
of this
decade, bro.
But we started this at the end of the decade is what I'm saying.
Oh, we started the
Yeah.
nerd turd journey.
Yeah, Nerd Turd established 2019. We're coming up on a year of the Nerd Turd podcast.
Is that? I was
coming up
actually
soon.
thinking about that, but how is that possible? Because we've only recorded 35 episodes.
It's weeks though. So
Yeah,
like
it's
we're
once
coming
per
up. We
week.
started in
right,
May.
but I guess that's true. We started in May. I feel like we started earlier than that, but I don't remember.
No, we started in April because Endgame came out at the end of April. So our first episode was the week that Endgame dropped.
Golly, time flies when you're having fun, boys.
It really does. We're so old.
We are super old.
You know how old I'm gonna be this year?
No, 30.
Wow.
I'm leaving my 20s.
Dude, before you know it, you're going to
You're
catch up with the
so-
Nerd Turd podcast and episodes.
You're so freaking old, bro.
Yeah, you're our elder. Except not as wise as us.
Oh my gosh.
Did you guys do anything extraordinarily fun for New Year's?
Oh yes, let me tell you. Let me tell you where I was.
God.
Also, first off, try to guess where I was, and then I'll tell
Charles.
you. where I
Las
actually
Vegas.
Oh, no, you're in Cherokee.
was. Yeah, I was at neither of those places. I was in Cherokee, North Carolina, at the Harrah's Casino
Yeah, you did.
With-
Just slinging chips everywhere.
with the top. No, I lost $40. And
Dude, I lost $20 at a
that was
casino
it.
in December.
So, but yeah, I was at
High rollers.
I know.
I was at Harrah's Cherokee Casino with the Tom's Clan.
Was it fun?
Dude.
I mean, yeah, it was fun. It was a good time. I don't like gambling at all, but
Do you know
was
why
a
I
good
guess Las Vegas? I have no reason to think that you were in Las Vegas other than the fact that I thought you were about to tell a story about the Taco Bell cantina.
I mean, Gene
Dude, I
has
wish I
family in
was
Las
there.
Vegas.
Well,
He goes to Las
yeah,
Vegas like
I wish I was there. That place
once
was
a
awesome.
year. Do you go once a year to Vegas?
Yeah,
You
every
haven't
once in
been.
a while.
right, but you've
we
already
didn't
been
go
this
last
year. I thought you've
No.
already been.
No, I didn't go last year.
I guess I'm crazy.
It's 2 years ago, I think, that I went.
I guess it was a good guess.
It was close. It was if we could have afforded. On
Gene,
that
you've
short
also
of a
got
time.
some big news to share.
What?
You won our fantasy football league.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did.
Against all odds.
Against
That is
all
true,
odds.
against
When
all
we were
odds.
recording 2 weeks ago, I was sweating. I was sweating it because I was in the lead, but I didn't think that
I
I was
listened to
gonna
it and I
win.
was literally talking
So,
about how it wasn't looking good for you.
Yep.
Yeah, he made a blockbuster trade mid-season to trade for busted up knees James Conner and still got the chip.
I did. I mean, sometimes when things are meant to be, they're meant to be, you know? So,
It's facts.
Dude, you're so rich now because of that, so now you just need to buy a PlayStation.
we'll see. We'll
You
see.
bought a
Game
PlayStation.
of
We'll
War. Game of War.
Game of
You can play
War.
God of War. I did buy
Dude,
a
I did want to
PlayStation.
play that.
In fact, we can kind of jump into some things that are popping off because I bought a PlayStation.
We got to tell them what we're going to talk about first.
Oh, you're right. Kevin, go. Sorry, I get
You
too
can
hyped,
tell.
dude.
We all got hyped.
You're excited.
So here's what you need to know about a PlayStation. All you people, we've been hating on Sony.
You need to tell them what we're going to talk about first.
Oh, that's what you wanted me to tell me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you guys what we're talking
Guys,
about.
it's a new year, new nerd turds, guys.
Yeah.
We're all
New
hyped.
year,
We're all getting ready
new
to. So we have so
nerd
much stuff to talk to you guys about because we haven't been here. We haven't talked to you guys all year.
Yeah, this is the first time I've talked this year.
Wow.
Period. All right, so here's what we do. Today, we have some exciting news and notes and things popping off in nerd culture, like popcorn kernels when they get too hot, just coming into full form in 2020. And then we're going to look back, we're going to reflect. To be able to build on something, you got to look back on the foundation. And we're going to talk about what are the best movie, TV show, and video game of the past decade. And then using that as a jumping board, a diving board.
A jumping board?
A jumping board.
A trampoline.
A diving board into the new decade. We are going to talk about our nerd resolutions and things we want to accomplish this year. Because don't we know it's all the time where we reflect and we plan for what's to come. And so you're going to hear some of our nerd resolutions. But popping off is where we'll start.
Sick.
And I've been popping off on a PlayStation 4. So, that being said, I won a fantasy football league as well that
Yeah, you
Gene was
did.
in.
I wasn't. I should have won that one as well, but
No, you shouldn't have.
My team.
Sucker. You shouldn't. I won that. I literally, okay, too much. I won like 9 straight games at the end of the year. I was on a freaking hot streak.
Mm-hmm.
So, I won that league and came into some extra money because of it. And with that money, I decided to buy a PlayStation 4 and a PSVR. And it has been amazing. PSVR has changed my life.
We need to throw on the socials at some point this week the videos and the pictures that are floating around of Chris playing his PlayStation VR.
It's
They're
as amazing
hilarious.
as you think it is.
There's quite a few of them. I think
What
all you
games
guys
do you
played
have?
last night. So there's
So
people.
I have Beat Saber. I have Super Hot. I have No Man's Sky in VR. Amazing. I have Skyrim in VR.
Have you played in VR?
Yes, it's awesome. I haven't played Skyrim yet. I need to. I've been flying through space in No Man's Sky, which I love No Man's Sky. I've spent about 50 hours on Xbox One. It's awesome. I'm excited to go back in VR. What else do I have in VR? I have Rec Room. I have a lot of like random games, but that's the thing about VR.
Is Beat Saber really fun?
Dude, it's awesome.
Which is your favorite game in VR?
Probably Beat Saber. Beat Saber is just so fun. I mean, it's like Guitar Hero with lightsabers. It's amazing. And it's just a great thing to do with a bunch of people. Like last night I had like 12 people over and we all just played Beat Saber for like the whole entire night. It was awesome. But PlayStation, you know, I've hated on Sony for a long time. But let me tell you, I'm coming around. I now have equal representation in my life. I have a Nintendo Switch, an Xbox One, and a PlayStation 4.
Balance, as all things should be.
Just like Ben Solo brought to the Force by giving his life. Ultimate balance. Spoilers. Sorry if you haven't seen Star Wars, but that's on you at this point because there are memes everywhere. But yeah, it's awesome. Also, talking about PlayStation, some news that came out this week is there are hints that at the Sony CES, which means Consumer Electronics Showcase, that's starting this week that this podcast drops, there are hints that they're going to announce the PS5. And with that, there are also, Sony has been doing a lot of VR patents, and people think that they're also going to release a PSVR 2 as well. Like it's going to launch with the console, which will be really awesome.
Why would you need a VR 2? Isn't it just a headset?
So it's just like, it's a headset, but it's like the new headset is going to, like they're trying to take on like PC headsets. Because if you think about it, like it's going to have just as much computing power as a powerful gaming PC, these new consoles. And so VR, PSVR, dude, teraflops and teraflops? Are you kidding me?
It will have the computing power of a mid-tier PC at best.
Which, I mean, is enough to do
Well, no,
VR
you're right.
impressive.
You're absolutely right about that. You're right about that.
Yeah. Because I would go to say that VR headsets, besides like the ones that are like $2,000, the Valve Index and stuff like that, that they don't use as much computing power as things do. Because, I mean, in a VR headset, the resolution is going to be lower. Like, you're not running something at, like, crazy resolutions in Ultra HD.
Yeah. I have such a hard time thinking about what the future of VR looks like. Like, the rest of gaming, I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on. But with VR specifically, it's tough because I feel like for it to really for you to get the real full experience of VR, I feel like you almost have to have like a dedicated space for VR. You know what I mean? Like if you were going to play, like if you were going to get the full immersive experience of VR in a game like Skyrim or No Man's Sky, like you would want to feel yourself walking. You know what I mean?
So they have things now where it's like not like a treadmill, but it's basically
they have like a 360 degree like treadmill and that kind of stuff, and I get it, but it's that's so non-consumer friendly, right? Yeah. Like where would I put that? You know, like and it be like a usable thing. So I don't know. Like that's why it's hard for me to grasp. Like I could see the appeal of VR, but it also seems like such a challenging thing from like from a company standpoint to make it consumer friendly.
That's what PlayStation's doing, right? Because PlayStation in general, like PlayStation and Oculus. So Oculus just came out with something called the Oculus Quest, which is completely wireless VR.
Yeah,
which is awesome, and you could take it literally to like the coffee shop if you wanted to and play. And
imagine seeing that.
You basically design your play field so it can be as small as you want or as wide as you want, up to certain parameters.
Can we please? I need one of us to have that because how funny of a YouTube video would that be if we filmed you at a Starbucks VR, like, somewhere playing an Oculus Quest?
I'm telling you, we could do it. I mean, if you want to shell out $400 and buy it, I'll play it.
No, just go win another fantasy league.
I plan on it next year in the one I'm in with both of you guys. But no, I think that the PS5 is going to be cool, and I'm kind of at the point in my life too, so I have just a laundry list of PS exclusives now that I have a PlayStation that I need to work my way through. And so I love all my friends that I play with on Xbox, but it's going to be tough to choose the next console I'll buy.
Is it?
I think it's going to be tough. If PS5 launches with a PSVR 2, I've loved PSVR. Like, it is such a cool way to game.
Is there any way to, like, I don't know. I think it is in, like, a single player environment, right? But, like, I guess I'm at the point in my life
which are also the games I gravitate towards more.
I get that. I can only speak for me personally. So we were talking about this before. I've been playing a lot of Modern Warfare.
Yep.
I'm not like the biggest Call of Duty guy in the world, but I just don't have time to just sit down and commit to like grinding out story missions or even games like Halo. Like Halo is one of my all-time favorite games. I have Cade right here behind me. Cade 6, rest in peace. You gave me one of the sickest presents of all time about Cade 6. But like I just don't have time to sit down and like grind out gear and get raid ready and optimize my loadout and all that stuff. Which is really sad and really unfortunate. But even that is like I just don't want to sit down and play single player games because it's so much easier just to hop on with my friends for a few hours and play a few matches of COD. You know? And
which I think that's the thing with the PlayStation is I could do that too if I wanted to. Right? So you have both and with the PlayStation because I have the VR capability. And VR also really does capitalize on like party experiences. And as much as I love gaming online with my friends, local multiplayer is like that is my favorite probably. Besides when we had a full fire team in Destiny and we were raiding.
But like how could you do local multiplayer with VR unless you had multiple headsets?
So you switch off. There are games. So there's this game called Keep Talking and No One Explodes. And the person in the VR has to disarm a bomb. And then the people in the crowd can't see the bomb, but they're reading basically an instruction manual that's online and telling them how to disarm the bomb based on what the person sees.
That's pretty cool.
So they're definitely doing things like that and trying to make it more friendly and conducive to a party setting. And stuff like that is just experiences that you literally, it's just a different experience.
We haven't talked about video games on this podcast in a minute.
I know.
And it's last month was all Star Wars. I mean, we talked a little bit about Fallen Order and amongst all the Star Wars stuff, but not much has been video game heavy. Oh my
gosh, dude, this is scratching an itch. I didn't know I need scratched.
Game, dude.
Well, but even that though, I think Xbox is just going to come out with so many consumer friendly products, like the whole like Project X cloud gaming thing that they're doing. I think that's just super incredible. I get it though. If you want to do VR, then. I mean, I don't even know if Microsoft is offering anything like that.
Not right now. They basically have like kind of gone away with that. And I think Microsoft will have a ton of more IPs, independent projects this coming up year because they acquired like 20 game studios before E3 of last year. So like we'll see Microsoft start competing on that platform. But for me, it's just, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
I just don't know why Microsoft wouldn't buy a company like Oculus. Like
Facebook just bought Oculus, so Oculus is owned by Facebook now.
Why would Facebook buy Oculus?
Because they see ground to take.
I just don't though. Like I don't get it. I don't get the mass appeal.
Come and
no, I've played VR games and had a blast with it. Like I've done the whole like let's play a scary game in VR and it's been a ton of fun. I don't know. It's just like they're expensive. It's like I can't imagine like doing it by myself. You know, I get it. It's fun in like a group environment, but I'm also like a boring old adult person with like one free night a week, which I do this. You know, so I don't know.
It's cool though. But speaking of maybe the fact that the PS5 will be announced, the Xbox Series X has been announced.
Yes, it has.
And it looks like a refrigerator.
Yes, it has, because when I see it,
it looks like I walked into Lowe's.
Well, that's where we are. So
here you go. Here it is. Boom.
Boom, baby.
So
Xbox Series X.
I saw that people were starting to make fun of this on the internet, but like that's where it's going to be, because right there, that has a graphics card in it. That has a motherboard in it.
Yeah.
That has a CPU in it. That is a PC.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is a PC.
That is in a tower like a PC, right?
Yeah.
And I would be shocked if the PlayStation 5, I mean, it might look different than that, but it'll be the same general gist, because the computing power of these things is getting so much higher now that you just can't put it in this nice little flat N64 size box.
It's got to be beefy.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, if you pull a graphics card out of a PC, it's like the size of a Nintendo 64.
Yeah,
you know, like they're a lot bigger than you realize, and it's like the with the graphical like expectations of things like what is it called? Xbox Series X. What a stupid name.
Xbox Series X.
Well, it's just called Xbox, but then it's Series X.
Right,
so
but here's why that's stupid.
Is Xbox Series Y.
Here's why that's super dumb, and here's why PlayStation 5 is so much smarter. Granny Gladys goes to the Walmarts to buy their grandson or granddaughter.
Granddaughter Jimmy.
Yeah, Billy Jim, a new
Billy Jim,
a new Slim Jim Billy over there trying to get himself a new gaming console, and she ends up buying an Xbox, like an original, Xbox. What was I don't know.
Xbox.
But it's not Xbox One. It's just Xbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're so confusing with their name. Like you can't even say Xbox One because that's their third version of an Xbox, right? Whereas Grandma, okay, he told me he had a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. That's easy, But like expecting Grandma Gladys to go to the Walmarts and buy a Xbox Series X is like, what?
The Walmarts.
Yeah, we'll see. I think I kind of like it. I like that it's just going to be simple. It's the Xbox. It's a new Xbox.
But that wouldn't tell me that, right? Like Xbox Series X makes me feel like it's called the Xbox Series X. It's not.
Also, anywhere she goes, and I know this isn't what you're saying, but anywhere she goes, it's going to be behind a locked glass case that she's got to get someone to get it for her.
I understand that, but I don't know. I just feel like why make it more confusing than it needs to be?
Yeah,
you have an Xbox One X right now, right? That's the most powerful one.
Yeah, Gene has one. All of his teraflops of processing power he's rocking with Star Wars Fallen Order.
That I have not played.
It's so hard.
At all. I really...
so hard.
Is it made by the same people that
made Titanfall 2?
That made Dark Souls? No.
Yeah, it is. It's made by Respawn.
But I'm not crazy in thinking that they made Dark Souls, right?
I think that
keep talking for a second. Let me confirm that.
I think a developer from Dark Souls helped on the game. I do not think it's the same studio, or I don't think it's the same company.
I'm about to fact check this.
I know that like it might be someone from Dark
Souls.
FromSoft
is who developed Dark Souls.
Yeah, so Respawn did that. It's people who did Titanfall 2, Apex Legends. They're not the publisher. EA is the publisher, but they're the developer.
I don't know why I'm...
Fun game. Hard game.
Yes, it's
not
very
a relaxing
hard.
game. Like usually my one-player games, I like just like chilling, walking around.
No, there's also an element of like you if you're a completionist, you're gonna have a nightmare in that game because you can keep progressing through the story pretty constantly, but you're not going to do things like unlock all the cosmetics. You're not going to.
It's hard to.
You're not going to fight all the. Yeah, but that's what they mean for it to be. Like that's the replayability of that game, right? Is like they expect everyone just to burn through the story, but then you can go back and you can find all the secret bosses and unlock the dual-sided lightsaber and all the puzzles that you have to unlock to find some, weird chest with a, whatever thing in it, right? So that's the like replay value of that game, because you're not going to do all that stuff in your first playthrough. If you try to do that, you're going to be in that game for hundreds of hours.
Yeah, I have not played that game at all because I'm on the first planet and can't beat this first secret boss, the boss thing that I found. Yeah, I don't know if it's
secret boss.
I don't know if it's a secret boss or whatever, but it's just a little frog thing that's like. So there's one of them like down in like a cave.
No, it is a secret boss. So you're not supposed to. Your character is not strong enough to beat that yet.
I've been trying.
That's what I'm talking about. Like they put things in like,
but yeah,
for you to get stronger and progress through the game, and then come back to that planet because then
to be able to do it again.
But yeah, I have not played that game at all because I've gotten very frustrated because I can get him down to about like a third of his health left, but he like two shots me. I have to like not get hit at all,
God,
and
that game is so
I die.
hard.
But fun, know what? My new Xbox has made me want to play again.
Fortnite.
Yes, Fortnite Chapter 2. Actually Fortnite Chapter 1, not 2, the original one.
Why wouldn't they just name it Fortnite 2?
This is gonna like get us into our next thing that we're talking about. Because my new Xbox, but also watching this show has made me want to play it again. The Witcher on Netflix. So I downloaded that game. I got the gold edition of The Witcher 3.
We bought it at the same time, right?
Yeah, when it was on like $15 or something on sale that weekend with games with gold or something.
The game is beautiful on Xbox One X.
But yeah, so I want to play that. I want to get back into playing that. Speaking of a complicated game that has a lot of levels and like layers to it, all of the things and the places that you can go and do in that game are ridiculous.
I saw something that The Witcher on Steam, because of the show dropping, has like over 100,000 concurrent like players right now. So it's like had a little revival because of the TV show. People were like wanting to play it, just like you were talking about.
But yeah, I really want to play it. It looks.
Speaking of the Witcher show, it dropped. You said you've seen all but one episode. I've seen
all but the last
only
episode. All but the last episode.
And I've liked it so far.
It's great.
I'm gonna need y'all to be pretty spoiler free right here.
Yeah, it's great.
I've only watched like the first like 10 minutes of episode 1 because I've been super busy with family stuff. But
it is very.
I've heard pretty mixed reviews on it because I don't think. Well, here's the one spoilery thing that I'll say about it, but I know this and it's not spoilers, that it's operating on different timelines.
Yes.
And like they apparently, but I feel like I've heard this enough to get confirmation on it. They don't make it like super clear. Like the directing of that isn't great. Like there's no like real. They don't hold your hand in that fact. Like there's no like let me think, and it's like an obvious flashback. But they've already started filming season 2, and they've already like specifically addressed things like that like they're going to do a better job of making it more audience friendly in that regard.
Yeah, I've enjoyed the first episode.
It is good.
Trying to find the time to get through the rest of it is definitely something for me as well.
It's really good. Henry Cavill is awesome.
I heard he kills it.
I think he plays a very convincing and like good Geralt.
I feel like he's a pretty solid actor, but he's in weird movies. You know what I mean? Like he's like I don't really remember him being in like a super serious role. The only thing I can what was the like
he was Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he was a cartoon character.
I mean, Man of Steel was a pretty serious take on Superman. Like it was like shot like it was Christopher Nolan. So it was shot very like.
Honestly, there's one cool scene in that movie, and that's when
the music is great in that movie.
The music is great in that movie, but the coolest scene in that movie is when Henry Cavill comes out of the water, and he's shirtless, and he's walking through that dude's yard and rips that sweater off the clothesline. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was the coolest scene in that movie. Mainly because I was blown away by how huge he was.
Dude, he's freaking ripped.
Yeah, he is in The Witcher as well. Just crazy.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, this isn't on this docket, but one thing I did over our time off, is I went and saw the movie Richard Jewell. Or I don't know if it's called Richard Jewell, but that movie's way better than I thought it was going to be.
It looks good.
Also, another really fun movie that I saw recently, Knives Out.
I heard that movie was good.
With Daniel Craig. And
wasn't that directed by Waikiki Ryan Johnson, Last Jedi?
Well, that movie's way better than The Last Jedi.
Ooh.
That's one of the better
Hot
movies
take.
I saw this year.
Take.
Knives
Really?
Out is it's like one of the most fun, well directed. Daniel Craig is like basically a perfect actor in that movie.
I need to go see
And
it.
so the whole thing is based off of like a mystery novel.
Yeah.
Like so they
It's like Clue, right? Like it's
you find this out in like the first couple minutes, but a guy dies in this movie, and that's the reason this whole situation is happening. And that guy wrote like murder mystery novels, and they like not like that he set this thing up. Like they just make they make the movie feel like it's a murder mystery novel.
That's cool.
And so it's always introducing twist, and Chris Evans is in it. That's where the like sweater meme came from, of course. Chris Evans, which I didn't realize until like it was happening, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's the sweater!"
I've seen that.
So no, that movie was dope. If it's, I don't even know if it's still in theaters or not, but if it is, and you have Regal Unlimited, you should go see it.
Well, I'm glad you love that movie, and you said it was the best movie you've seen this year. I think we should go in and talk about the best of the decade. Best things of the decade. Best movie, best TV show, and best video game. We actually asked this on social media, and we had a couple of really awesome responses. We'll go through those before we give our own takes. Our own very own Maria, who does our social media, who's sitting in the room on the floor right now. We're very sorry we don't have a seat for you. I hope the floor is comfortable, Maria. She said that her best of the decade is Game of Thrones. Now, not season 8, she says.
Oh, too bad. You can't exclude it.
Yeah, you can't exclude it. It's part of canon, right, Maria?
Season 8 hurts.
You can't exclude Rise of Jedi, it's not canon. Look, she's so mad right now. She's so mad. Sore spot. Allie Brown said that Little Women, very recent movie, still in theaters, that she thinks is the best of the decade.
I've heard a lot of this, but I don't know anything about this movie.
I mean, it's based off of one of the most popular books.
I mean, that's what I know, but like I don't know who's in this movie. I didn't hear anything about it until
Emma Watson is in this movie. Our very own Hermione is in this movie. But I've heard all good things about it, and I'll go see it. My wife, like, she literally called me afterwards and just like raved about how good it was and like wept the entire time. So I'm gonna go see it. The next thing is just the whole I guess evolution in gaming that the Nintendo Switch brought. Lindsay Foster told us that was her best of the decade, which I have to agree. The Nintendo Switch was revolutionary for gaming. It really honestly kind of revived Nintendo. Like Nintendo was kind of on the way down after the Wii U.
Way.
Dude,
It
after
was,
the
it was
Wii
good
U,
for them.
It was definitely on the way down.
Yeah.
Definitely. That the Wii U was a huge flop.
Dude, Nintendo. It doesn't matter if it wasn't a flop financially.
It definitely was a flop financially. They lost a lot of money. They if you like look at like their plan, like the Nintendo Switch completely like switched their company back.
Keep going.
So that being said, Gene, I want to hear your favorite movie, game, and TV show of the decade.
All three at once? Okay.
Yep.
I had to do some thinking about this because there's
10 years is a long time.
10 years is a long time. I was just about to enter my 20s 10 years ago, and now I'm about to leave them. So that's crazy to think about. So I've played a few games, quite a handful of games. Watched a lot of TV shows, seen a few movies in 10 years. So favorite movie, I think I asked you guys this question and you guys gave me the green light to lump both part 1 and part 2 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows as my favorite movie. It is no secret that I love Harry Potter, and I got a late start on reading the books, so I didn't read those until like the end of my high school career, like kind of into college. So I didn't read them as a child, but I read them like basically all in one summer because I got started and I couldn't stop. Both of those movies were great, and it was kind of obviously the culmination and, you know, the visual representation of everything in my imagination from finishing that series. And I remember, so for the second one, I didn't really like get into it as much, but for the first one, the night before I was in college, I had a project. So I had a communication studies class about like gender. It was basically about like gender roles in communication. And I did a project about that in Harry Potter. So it talked a lot about Emma Watson, a lot about Hermione's role and how important she was to the storyline and the narrative of Harry Potter. And I did that. I stayed up until probably 4 o'clock in the morning. Probably didn't sleep. I don't think I slept at all that night because I procrastinated and didn't do it till the night before. And finished that project, went to class the next morning, presented that project, and then went to see, and it was the like release date of Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 1, and I went and saw it that night in IMAX. And so,
dude, that night I almost died. I was in the theater for the preview of Harry Potter Deathly Hallows 1, and I was eating some milk duds.
Oh my.
And you know how when you like eat milk duds, you're like thick, your spit gets like really thick.
Mm-hmm.
So I like swallowed a milk dud, and all that like thick spit went down my windpipe.
Oh.
So I'm sitting in the back of the movie theater like hacking because I'm like choking in the back of the movie.
That sounds disgusting. Everything about that story.
That
I almost
sounds
died.
exactly like something you would do. So movie, definitely that one. Harry Potter Deathly Hallows. TV show. So Game of Thrones was up there for me, and I know Maria mentioned it, but you have to include season 8. And I binged Game of Thrones pretty hardcore.
For season 8, like you did.
Yes,
like,
to finish. So basically, beginning of the year, I started watching Game of Thrones, and I watched all the way through it to catch up to be ready to watch season 8. And then we got season 8, and Game of Thrones ended, and I'm not gonna pick it because of that. So Breaking Bad, and so this was another one too. So all of mine kind of like teetering on the edge of, I asked you guys if I could lump 2 movies into one for mine. Breaking Bad actually debuted in 2008, but the final episode aired in 2013. So, and I watched it all this decade.
Yeah, this was controversial.
It was controversial. That's me.
Almost didn't make the cut.
I do controversial things. Breaking Bad is my TV show. Still think it is the best show start to finish that I've ever seen. And it was great. And game, I will agree with Lindsay about the Nintendo Switch being revolutionary. I was always a Nintendo kid growing up, and now I'm obviously Xbox. I've had a PlayStation, but the Nintendo Switch is amazing. And game of the decade, I would have to say, is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Ooh,
I have still not beat that game because I don't want it to be over. There's so much that you can do, and I love playing it, but I have continued to play it and then put it down because I get nervous about finishing it because I don't want it to be finished. And that's just the type of gamer that I am, and I want to keep being able to play it. So there's a lot of good games that we played. We played a lot of them together, and there's a lot that we're going to talk about. You guys are going to talk about some specifically too, but I would pick Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. So those are my 3.
I like it. I'll go next. So for me, I'll start with my game because I think that Breath of the Wild was definitely in my consideration. It would probably be like number 2 for me in the games of the decade. But what my game of the decade would be Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim. And the reason I think Skyrim, yes, so it came out in 2011, right? And so I think this one is really monumental because it came out in 2011, and I've bought this game 3 different times on 3 different systems, right? So this is one of the only games that keeps getting re-released and keeps selling.
What systems?
I bought it on Xbox 360 to play it the first time.
Then Xbox
I bought
One.
it on Xbox One, the Mastered Edition, so I could have mods on console, and I could Kamehameha in Whiterun and just destroy the town. And I've recently bought it on PSVR. And Lindsay Foster, who talked earlier about the Switch, Lindsay's getting a lot of plugs in this episode.
She is.
She's a hardcore gamer. She's cool. She says she's bought that game 4 times. So, like, just in general, for a game to come out in 2011 and people are still actually buying it to experience it again in a new way, I think that speaks for itself what it did. And I think a lot of the things that game did set the foundation for open world RPGs. I mean, like, Breath of the Wild probably wouldn't be what it was if it wasn't for Skyrim. The Witcher, the new Witchers wouldn't be what it was if it wasn't for Skyrim. Like, that game changed how open a game could be. I mean, just this, I remember playing that game for the first time and like was baffled that I could walk anywhere and not see a loading screen, except when you walk into a city, because that did have loading screens and they took forever. But I remember you could like zoom in on like the statue or like the bow or something, like rotate it. Do you remember that in loading screens? But that game, I mean, man, that game was just amazing. And like I said, I've bought it 3 different times, so it's pretty monumental.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. I think though, if I had to, I mean, obviously it's.
What can you argue against Skyrim?
I just think Morrowind was a better game.
I don't think so. I definitely set the, like, Morrowind wasn't as open as Skyrim. The scale wasn't nearly as big.
The technology was limiting, so you kind of have to. You can't like separate it from its time, right? I mean, like, I don't know, like Pokemon Stadium was a really cool game, but it would be a joke if it was released today, because like the technology has so far outpaced that now.
I will say Morrowind was better than Oblivion, because I played.
Oblivion was by far my least favorite.
Yeah.
I think the reason Morrowind was so cool is because like that type of gaming was not made normal on console yet.
Yeah.
And did you play Morrowind?
Yeah.
Did you play Morrowind, Gene?
Not really. So I mean, I played a little bit. So our friend Logan actually was really into Oblivion and Morrowind, and that was where I
think this is why me and him became friends.
Yeah, that was where I got my first like exposure to the Elder Scrolls, and I didn't really love it because I didn't really know what was happening. But then Skyrim came out, and
so this was like the first time, because this was, what did it even come out on? Was it the original Xbox?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it came out.
And then
on
they re-released it on 360.
But like hardcore, because obviously there was like RPG style games, but like hardcore,
like min-maxing
or RPG games on that at that point was never like a mainstream thing on consoles. Like, I mean, obviously it was a thing on PC, because you had things like World of Warcraft and that kind of stuff existing. But when did World of Warcraft release? Is that going to be on this? No, that definitely didn't release this. That released when I was in high school, I think, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I think Skyrim, I definitely think, I mean, Morrowind did a lot of things. I think Elder Scrolls in general, I mean, if you were to take, the last 2 decades.
I just think Skyrim was more beautiful. It was obviously like, its technology was far superior than anything that like Morrowind could offer. But I just, like, I feel like because Morrowind was like so groundbreaking in that regard, like everything just felt so much more exciting. Like I remember becoming a Grand Master of the Mages Guild in Morrowind, and they gave me my own fortress in the woods.
Yeah.
And I'm sure stuff like that existed in Skyrim, but like back then I was like so blown away by that you could like just grind one, and there was like a million things like that you could do.
Yeah.
There was like all these guilds that you could run up and like be the leader of that guild, and like I just like there was nothing like that before, at least as far as I know of, on the console.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls it's just a great game. I'm excited for Elder Scrolls 6. Hopefully this year at E3 we're going to get an actual announcement. I mean, they had an announcement that it's coming, but nothing about it. As far as movie, I've talked about this before. My favorite movie, or I think the best movie, is Infinity War. Not Endgame, Infinity War. And the reason is I think Infinity War is a better movie. And I think that if you were to culminate everything that Marvel did, Infinity War is more of its culmination than Endgame. And the reason I say that is the Endgame is the period, the exclamation mark on all 11 years of movies. This whole decade we've had Marvel movies, right? But I think Infinity War was the first time that they were all together. It was the first time they were all united to fight every Avenger and everybody. I mean, you've had the Avengers before, but it brought everybody into one plot at the same time.
Okay. And
it's the thing that...
But were they in the same plot at the same time? That's a questionable statement. Keep going.
But I also think that... Oh, you're talking about because they were fighting Thanos.
They were on
3
separate
ways.
Storyline. Yeah.
But I also think I remember leaving the theater after Infinity War and thinking they really did it. Like they really killed Spider. Like they really did. And you knew they were coming back. I mean, you knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But just the fact that their storytelling led to actually killing off characters that people loved and then having to find a way to bring them all back together, I think is where, I've said before on this podcast, if you were to put Infinity War and Endgame together, it's a perfect movie. Like I think if you watch that full on back to back, it's a perfect movie. but specifically Infinity War, I think is just if that movie isn't done well, all 11 movies don't make sense coming together, right? I think you could have tied up Endgame in a bunch of different ways, and it still would have been great. But if Infinity War wasn't good, if Thanos wasn't a believable villain, that whole arc of 11 years of movies would not have worked together. So that's what I think Infinity War. TV show, Stranger Things. All right. So Stranger Things, I think...
I'm not with you on this.
I think Stranger Things, more than anything, brought back into culture the like sci-fi kind of thing. Like I think we've had superheroes and stuff, but Stranger Things made it a normal thing to really binge watch things, right? Like the way I think the way that Netflix released episodes all at once and the first Stranger Things coincided so well that set a new precedent in how we watch TV shows.
Those weren't like those didn't happen at the same time,
right? But I think that's the big one that started. Like people didn't binge watch shows like they did before. Stranger
The
Things.
Office, most watched thing on Netflix by an overwhelming
right. But I'm saying like when The Office first came out, people watched it once a week.
Right, but like when did Stranger Things come out? Like
the first Stranger Things?
Like when was the release
in
date?
This decade?
Well, I know that, but I'm just talking about like what year.
Stranger Things 1 dropped in 2016.
Yeah, people were definitely binge watching shows on Netflix before.
But this was a new level. It was nothing like Stranger Things. I remember when it came out, people were like, dude, have you watched all of Stranger Things yet? Like people were talking about it. Mm-hmm. It was like in media. I mean, Stranger Things still to this day is like,
I'm not arguing. It's a dope show.
Yeah. I think it's one of those shows that stick with people and people like, it's one of those shows you have to consume. Like you can't wait to consume it. And I think that's the draw that I think made it very important to TV, because I think that, so many other shows you've seen people want to binge them because they had that experience of binging through Stranger Things. And the music, is amazing. I love that.
Score's dope. Score's the best thing about it.
Amazing.
Honestly, its vibe is the coolest thing about it. Because
It's
the kid actors are pretty dope, but I think like that's what makes it different than everything else. Is it's like 70s like techno retro vibe, because other than that, it's just like a show with kids and monsters in it.
I do think. Back in the 80s, you had a lot of this, but up until then, we didn't have really good kid actors in like serious roles until Stranger Things. So it definitely like brought that genre back. I mean, now we have It Chapter 1, Chapter 2 in a serious role, is what I said. Okay. I think there are definitely kid shows that are like funny and good, but like Stranger Things,
Shia LaBeouf.
Like what movie? What show? Even Stevens?
Even Stevens.
I mean, I love Even Stevens, but serious.
Beans?
Beans.
Yeah.
Greens.
Beans.
Tomatoes.
Isn't that the guy that looks really funny now?
Mm-hmm.
He does look funny. He's seen some stuff. Kevin, let's hear him.
I'm just going to go ahead and rip this Band-Aid off, because this is the one that I probably know the least about, and that's shows. So I just did some hardcore Googling, because honestly, I'm just not like a big like TV show guy. But I've watched the like mainstream things. I haven't watched Game of Thrones, so that's my like asterisk here, because maybe that would be way better than anything that I've seen. Like I've seen Stranger Things. I've seen all like the stuff that mostly everyone on this earth has seen. Seen Archer, The Flash, Arrow.
Ooh.
But here's the one, because it stands out to me because it was different. It also wasn't on you guys' list. And also, like, I remember being, like, mind blown the entire time I was watching it, and I was Making a Murderer.
Okay.
And here's specifically why I think it's dope. Because it literally got that kid out of prison. It literally got Brendan Avery out of jail. Because, like, there was so much, like, unbelievable, like, outrage from, like, the public that they literally like forced this kid to like say things that they wanted him to say, and they like told him he couldn't have a lawyer and all this other stuff, that like it legitimately got him out of prison, and it was just like a TV show.
Yeah, I mean it's investigative journalism.
I don't know, but that was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that. Especially, I mean, when did it come out? Like 2015 or something? Like I don't know, 24-year-old Kevin.
Yeah,
didn't. Was not into like the murder, but it was also just like mind blowing. Like there's a 0% chance that the government framed him. You know, and like that's the first time I've ever seen anything where like legitimately that might have been true. You know?
Yeah.
Like there's some sketchy stuff. Like one of the most mind blown I've ever been in watching a TV show is when they pulled out that blood vial that somebody had taken taken blood from, or like put blood into, or whatever the situation was. And it was like they're red herring, you know, it was like, we got him. They definitely framed this guy. And then the FBI came up with some test in like 3 days to like disprove it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was just like in like the 80s or whatever it was, and it was like, he totally just made that up. But all that evidence got thrown out. I just remember being so mind blown by that.
Yeah.
Not the popular pick, but that's what I'm going with. Game, Destiny 1.
Ooh.
Again, I know this isn't the popular pick. I don't even really believe that it's the best game, because I do think there's other games that are more well done, well produced. But personally, this is like a game that touches close to my heartstrings, because this is like some of my like favorite memories in gaming. You know, like
me leading us in the battle.
Yeah, Chris leading
straight
us
off a cliff.
Well, like I just remember things like the first time I completed a raid, like the first time we finished Vault of Glass, and it was like us and our buds, right? Like that was the first time I played a game like that, where you had to like grind and level up and like achieve
and like
that.
really work together.
Like really work together. Like it wasn't like I basically cut my teeth in gaming playing like competitive Halo.
Yeah.
You know, whereas like that was just literally a matter of like, there's a person, go shoot him, you know? Like, so this is the first game that I dove in on like because this is even before I ever played like WoW or anything. Like on a MMO RPG level, which I know there's like some hardcores out there that would say Destiny's not an MMO. Well, you can find a bridge and jump, because I don't care. But I don't know, like I remember specifically like staying up till 4 a.m. till the reset on the weekends so we could go see what Xur had to buy the exotics.
And then I'd just buy an exotic and go to sleep.
Yeah, and it was always like
shoot it a couple times.
That's always what it was, but it was just like the excitement of it was so fun. Like, and I've never experienced that. Like I've never waited on an NPC vendor to reset in a game before.
Yeah, no.
You know? Because even when you explain it, it sounds so stupid, but it was like in the moment, it was like so much fun. But we did that a lot. We did that often, every and often.
Week.
Yeah.
There wasn't a week I didn't stay up for Xur.
Yeah.
We did that. We did that a lot. A lot.
We also didn't work on Fridays.
I also played thousands of hours into that game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, legitimately thousands of hours, which I think that's probably the only game besides like Halo 2 and 3 that I've ever done that for.
Yeah, it's embarrassing the amount of hours we all did.
I literally went back and looked, and it was seriously like 1,500 hours. And then movie, this is pretty much just going to speak for itself, but Inception. I was going to fanboy on recently with Joker, and I was also going to say Endgame, but I am kind of with you, like the plot of Endgame as a movie by itself falls apart without the... Like the reason it's good is because it had 11 years of story to make it a good like culmination ending. To make it a good exclamation point. And then Joker, I do think is high on my list here. Also, I talked about earlier, but Knives Out, I think that would be high on my list. But I did more, because it's hard to think, like, when did these movies come out? And so as I started digging in, like, there's a lot of movies that came out in this decade that are freaking awesome. Yeah. And Inception is on that list. So, yeah.
No, I definitely think it changed the way we think about movies, as far as like it's probably still, but maybe besides Interstellar, which I mean is the same director, same vein.
Interstellar would be like number 3 on my list.
But just thinking about a deeper movie, which such a complex theme that like you have to watch. There's no person on earth that can watch Inception for the first time and get the whole thing. Like that's a movie you have to watch over and over again. And I feel like every single time you watch it, you learn something new, or you like realize something new.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Great movie.
It's a good movie.
I need to rewatch it. I haven't watched it in so long.
Yeah, but let us know what you guys think. I'm sure we'll put some stuff out on socials after this episode drops, so you can give us some of your opinions. And let's see here.
Let's turn the page. We've set the foundation. We've talked about the things that made us who we are. Let's talk about who we want to be.
Yeah. So we're gonna hit us with some nerd resolutions.
I'll go ahead and start.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have some resolutions. These are some things that I want to accomplish this year. Some resolutions that are very nerdy that I want to do. This first one, I've been wanting to do this pretty recently in my adult years. I used to do it a fair amount in college and late high school, but I want to reread the Harry Potter series. I think this is something I would love to do, especially now I'm like huge into audiobooks. And so I really would love to listen through them all the way on audiobooks. I've listened to a couple of them, but I think just consuming that material that I love so much in a different way is something I really want to do. And, you know, I think J.K. Rowling put it so well after the series. She says, no matter where you go in life, Hogwarts will always be there to welcome you home. Right. And that is something like I feel like even when I said that, I get chills because I love Harry Potter so much. And so like this summer or whenever, like I want to re-listen to them again and I want to go home. Right. Like it's something that I think is very comforting to me. It's something that is amazing. And that's something I want to do.
It's long overdue for me.
Yeah, it's been too long since I've gone through them again. Right. So that's one resolution I want to do. My next resolutions are, like I said earlier, I just bought a PlayStation. And so they're a laundry list of single player IP games that I want to finish. And so a couple of them that I already have is I'm probably like a third of the way through Spider-Man. It is an amazing game. Probably one of my favorite combat systems ever in a game. The combat is intuitive, it's fun, it's fast, it's amazing. Like it might be my favorite combat system in any game. It's so much fun to play.
What specifically about it do you like?
You can shoot across the room and attach to the ceiling and come back down, dodge some. Like it's unbelievable how actually they make you feel like you're Spider-Man. And that I think is very lost in a lot of games. And a lot of games tend to be very button mashy. And that's what I thought this game was going to be. I thought it was going to be like beating up thugs on the street by button mashing. But they give you the ability to like pick up manhole
instead you're out
covers.
there butt mashing.
Yeah, butt mashing people. You can pick up manholes, swing around, throw them. You can web up people, pull them up, tie them to a light post. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of stuff you can do. Combat system is brilliant. Spidey sense tingling. It's awesome. Horizon Zero Dawn I want to beat. One of our friends, Clay Button, he says it's the most open world game he's ever played. And a lot of people have said it's like a more serious version of Breath of the Wild. And so that kind of excites me to play through that. Jedi Fallen Order I want to beat. I don't know if I will because honestly, it's just a frustrating game. And I don't know if I have the patience to beat that game because I just get so mad when I die. I just get so mad.
You got it.
Maybe. But then the other one, I want to beat Skyrim in VR because, like I said, it is a completely different experience. It is amazing, and I think that, man, I would just love to spend
buckle up
some
for a
more
couple
time
hundred hours into that.
Into Skyrim. So
I feel like your eyes are going to melt out of your head.
Yeah, seriously, I'm gonna die of a stroke because my eyes are just exploding.
Now, did you also?
Head.
Is this the edition that you can mod?
No, it's not. You can't mod it in VR, which I'm actually fine with because, you know,
it's hard not to just immediately do that.
Yeah,
and
make
break
yourself
the game.
super strong, and then you just ruin the grind of the game. Which the grind of the game and the leveling up is part of the thing that makes it so rewarding, is you getting better at your skills and things like that. So yeah, those are my resolutions. That's what I want to accomplish this year in nerd culture.
Nerd rezos.
Gene, you got anything?
Yeah, I want to teach you proper mic etiquette.
Dude, did
have
you
you
see
actually
that?
follow through with it? That is my
exploded.
He just unplugged the
Kevin-
microphone.
My mic just exploded.
Kevin
over
is a notorious mic fiddler, which
I don't
I'm sure
know.
you guys see on the pod.
We need to
pretty
make a
much
mental note
every-
to check that audio. stamp
Oh, you
because-
can definitely hear it. You definitely hear it pop back in. You just hot patched your mic live,
dude. You're welcome.
There's definitely
You're welcome,
so
America.
that pop that you guys all heard, nerds. That was obviously
Kevin.
if you're watching the YouTube channel, you saw Kevin literally unhook the XLR from his microphone and then look at it like what happened and then plug it back in.
What happened was I was messing with this little knob and the mic shot down and the force shot the XLR out of the microphone, and so I didn't just like unplug it. It just blew out of here.
So yeah, that's my number one nerd rezo is proper mic etiquette for the Nerd Turd Studio. I'm on board big time with rereading Harry Potter. I don't know if I've actually
Should we do
read
it
through-
together?
Dude,
we could, yeah.
We should do it
I
together.
can't. I don't think I've read through the entire series, and I could.
We
not
should
tell
do
you
it
how
and
long.
make a separate channel on our Discord for discussions and like set like chapter stuff. Kind of like
Don't tease me.
Maria
I'll
did.
get into this.
Yeah.
Maria did like a read through with her Bookstagram people.
Are we starting this week? I'll start Harry Potter.
Yeah, I'm down.
In the Philosopher's Stone this week. You
I'm
in?
starting now. I'm knee deep in some books right now.
I'm in.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We'll put it up. We'll figure out a way to organize this. We'll put out maybe some infographics with some like lines and some dates and stuff, but this will be fun.
So yeah, I definitely am down with that. That sounds good. I think I had a strong desire towards the end of the year last year to get into The Hobbit and like The Lord of the Rings, even though I know they're like really beefy reads. So we'll see if I follow through with that.
I got them all.
I want to read. Yeah, I've been looking at. So I went to Books A Million a couple of times, like over the holidays, and every time I looked at like Lord of the Rings and Hobbit book sets because they looked really cool, and I was thinking about it.
They do look cool. They make those stuff look.
I would love to finish Red Rising. I read the first one in like 2 days, and then haven't really read any of them since. Obviously, I know our friends Casper and Mike McMillan. We were talking with them on Facebook because I think Mike was asking a question about some books he should read, and I think I suggested Red Rising, and then we got some commentary, some discussion on like how good the series overall is. So I would like to get back into that.
Casper, I will tell you, I know you said you turned in Dark Age. You didn't get far enough, bro. It's slow at the beginning. It is 1,000 miles an hour, as bloody as you can imagine, and horrifying. The last half of that book, it's amazing.
300.
Way worse. Literally, I was squeamish at one part of the book. Like, and that, I mean, you usually don't get that in a book.
But so yeah, that definitely reading a lot of stuff. I would like to finish some games too. Like, I really didn't have anything that I had particularly thought about, but then I started thinking about all that stuff. I would like to finish The Witcher, maybe. You know, that kind of, I rekindled that. Maybe this is the year that I finish Breath of the Wild. I don't know. Who knows? And maybe I'll beat the frog in Jedi Fallen Order on the first planet.
Yeah, that needs to be resolution number one.
Yeah, no.
Beat this freaking frog.
So that'll be it. We'll figure some stuff out. So it'll be fun. So 2020 is going to be a good year.
Kevo. Let's hear him, Mac Daddy.
I'm normally anti-resolution guy, but here's some things that I'm going to do. Personally, I'm going to get my Twitch channel back going again.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's a good one.
So all you suckers, get ready to give me money again. That was a fun time. No, here's the real thing is outside of nerd life, like one thing that I'm like super weirdly into is like personal finance. And so what I want to do is...
Hey, people nerd out about that.
Yeah. So what I want to do is diversify my income streams a little bit. Ooh. So what I'm probably going to start in... I don't know how nerdy or not nerdy this is, but in 2020, I'm going to start a coffee roasting business.
There you
go. So part of that's going to be learning how to roast coffee with an actual like industrial coffee roaster. Because you can do it like, you know, like I can roast coffee now, but it's not like on any sort of bulk, right? So get ready for me to just weirdly give you guys pounds of gross coffee.
I'm ready for it.
But it'll be free. And so that's probably and now I guess apparently I'm rereading the Harry Potter series, so let's go.
Yeah, you are.
Let's go.
Yeah, you are.
That's pretty much it for me though.
Cool. Well, we want to hear what you guys have for resolution, so I think that's what we're gonna flush with. We're gonna end it and we're gonna flush. We're gonna flush with, we want to hear this week on social media what you guys want to accomplish this year in nerd culture. It could be anything. It could be in personal culture. It could be you want to be coached by Captain K Nunn in your personal finances and learn how to diversify your funds.
I'll teach everyone. I'll be your stream coach.
Yeah, Kevin can stream coach for a low price of free $99.
No, $50 an hour. I know my worth.
Whoa.
Wow.
I know what I'm worth.
You really valued yourself right there, didn't you? But other than that, yeah, let us know what you want to do. We need to market this Harry Potter stuff, and we'll get some information out to you guys because instantly we are all very excited about this.
Yeah.
And, you know, we don't usually make live decisions on the podcast, but this one I think we're all behind. And so we'll get you guys some information and get ready to go home. We're going back to Hogwarts, baby. Oh,
Hufflepuff.
Oh my goodness!
Dude, get out of here.
Well, is that it? We good? We need to cover anything else?
Hit them with the deets.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in to the first episode of the new decade.
2020.
The 2020s. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. You can check us out on all of our socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all at nerdturdspod. You can check us out on YouTube. Whatever you have to search, Nerd Turd Podcast and YouTube, and hopefully you'll find us. You can check out our our Nerd Turd Talks there as well, where we cover the
Mhm.
Mandalorian. That's where all of our spoiler-filled reviews of the Mandalorian are. So
Dropping
feel
chapter
free to
8
check that
this
stuff
week.
out. You can hit us up in our Discord, and I don't feel like I'm leaving anything out. So cue the music, baby. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning
Doing
in.
Hogwarts.
Thank you for listening to the Nerd Turd Podcast, a podcast devoted to consuming and digesting all things nerd and expelling it out for the world to hear. If you enjoyed listening, you can support us by following and subscribing on all social media platforms at Nerd Turd Pod and leaving us a rating and review wherever you listen. We hope we've given you something to digest in your nerd life. From all of us here at Nerd Turd, keep it nerd, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for listening to the Nerd Turd Podcast, a podcast devoted to consuming and digesting all things nerd and expelling it out for the world to hear. If you enjoyed listening, you can support us by following and subscribing on all social media platforms at Nerd Turd Pod and leaving us a rating and review wherever you listen. We hope we've given you something to digest in your nerd life. From all of us here at Nerd Turd, keep it nerd, and we'll see you soon.